Hey, I hope you guys are all having a good day. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Josh, and I'm going to break down some tickers that I see value in. It would make me delightful, delighted, all tingly inside if you guys would be profitable in the market. Let's get to it. Okay, so first let's talk about Apple. The FOMO is real. Went zone to zone, we completely missed it, so we're just going to move on. Facebook we've been paying attention to for quite some time. I'll show you why. Here on the weekly time frame, for those that have been following me, I get direction off the weekly time frame. If there's a weekly reversal candle, I like following that direction. It just helps you know the direction of the market. If you can figure out direction of the market, you got half the battle. When the stock is going up and the direction is up and it's crashing, you're being able to buy the dips in comfort or feeling good about that particular trade because you know the trend is still up and it hasn't reversed yet. Where on the weekly time frame, from this bottom of this green candle to the top of the green candle, showing the gap down plus the sell-off on this red candle, it retraced under the 50% level compared to the prior green candle. That giving us a reversal pattern in the market. So what we were waiting for in Facebook is we were going, okay, we have a strong trend going up in Facebook, but now we have like a double top on the weekly time frame with another reversal pattern on the bearish side. So we were going, okay, this is our 50% retracement on the weekly time frame, bearish below, bullish above. If we get above this 50%, we can continue to be bullish. If we get rejections off the 50%, we would be bearish in the trade. So let's go to the lower time frame. We have the daily chart. This is what really kind of is starting to catch my attention, is we have the strong push up, we have a consolidation sideways. If we measure the 50% off this particular, just this one day, this really strong bullish day, we held that 50%. We got down to the 61.8 to 50% area on for today, and we got bought right back up. So a lot of buying pressure in the Facebook. We can also see that if we get above, which we are above pre-market hours or after market hours, we are above the 50%. So that's what I love, is at 277.60 Facebook, we are still buyers. Okay, so once again, bullish above the pink line. If we start getting some wicks down here showing that there's some buying pressure, or if we just consolidate straight over all during aftermarket hours and pre-market hours, we can be buyers up into 282. Now I'm going to be following my stop loss up. I want to milk the trade as long as I can. Stop is going to be down underneath the 50% of yesterday or today's activity in the market, and then I will continue to, like I said, following my stop up, using the power candles as my stop on the hourly time frame. Now, I have a video for which candles are in control of the stock and how that works, so be sure to check out the control or power candle video if you don't know which candles are in control of stock. If you haven't already, thumbs up our video. I would really appreciate it. It would help others in the community see our videos. We're brand new to YouTube, so make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Of course, enter questions in the comment box below. Ask me if you want me to break down other tickers or symbols that maybe you guys see value in. I would love to help. Let's go ahead and check out Roku. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out on Roku is what is neat is I use the 50% retracement in a lot of areas. I also believe in market symmetry, and it plays out quite well, and it really helps us out. What is nice is if we grab our 50% retracement from where we got the strong push up to, let's see, to the high, and I'll tell you why I picked the high at 315. That shows that we built a pattern right above our 50%. Remember, above the 50% we're bullish, which we're still bullish here in Roku, even though we're getting a push up. Now we can just look at it and go the direction. So when we start getting a sell-off, we can become buyers or dip buyers in the lower prices, expecting for price to continue. Now the reason why we grabbed or we expect the move to happen all the way up to 315 is if we use this particular service called Benzinga Pro, we type in Roku and we look at the Roku stock on news, maybe analyst upgrades, etc., etc. So that's what we're paying attention to, is we had an analyst upgrade, not just one, not just two, but I believe 3 different analyst upgrades saying that Roku is heading to 315. Now, if we use that information, we go, there's news telling us it's going to reach price target 315, plus we use our Fibonacci retracement and we say, okay, from the big push up on this particular day to 315. Are we holding 50%? And we are. We're holding the 50% retracement. We're getting our move. Everything's looking great. If we look at a weekly time frame, we can kind of see the type of move that it is also being put in as well with Roku. Let's get rid of these lines real quick. And so we have this nice move up. We have the consolidation, and to complete the symmetry move, 315 looks about right. So I am still bullish on Roku. I would be putting price targets or my alerts down below, something similar to this, and going, okay, where could Roku pull back to? And the way I would do that is using the 50% on the daily time frame. Okay, so then I would go, okay, this is where I would expect my zone to be for possibly a pullback into Roku. This is where I would feel comfortable buying the stock. So what I would do is, let's make this a zone here, and we will say this is where we plan to buy Roku. If we can get a pullback in the morning into this zone, 284, that's 284.70, that's where I'd be a buyer. Now, the thing about this is I would let my stop. Would definitely be support down here. This would be support where it used to be resistance. I would buy accordingly, as in I would measure my stop and go from the bottom. That's a $9 move, 3%. We generally don't want to risk a 3% move in our account. Okay, if we were to take a loser, I would plus give it some room. So I'm risking $12. So maybe you'd be taking 50 shares. You're still risking quite a bit. Maybe you take 10 shares. You're still risking at 10 shares, $120. Now, what's our profit target though? 30 shares. It's a 1-to-2 ratio. So we could potentially, even with 10 shares, make $300, and we are risking $120 in the trade. Now, if that's too much, you lower your share size. Maybe you're only buying 3 or 4 shares, depending on where you're at in the market. If you're uncomfortable when you buy into a certain stock and it's reversing and going against you, and you feel that you're uncomfortable, that means your position size is too big. Not to get into a lecture as far as that goes. But if we continue to look, NVIDIA is kind of cool. We will be battling the 50%. We see a lot of sellers in here. Okay, so we see big rejections coming down each time we get up into the price zone of 540, 545. But what I like is we're hanging out up here now. Okay, now this is our 50% retracement on the weekly time frame. Above 541, we are bullish, so we are paying attention. I would love to see NVIDIA go sideways, and I would love to be a dip buyer down into 531. Okay, and when I say that, I may not be taking the biggest position at 531, but what I'm doing is I'm getting I'm getting warmed up. I'm getting into the position. I'm seeing how the stock is moving at that time, because now I'm starting to understand the overall direction with NVIDIA. Now, if we look at NVIDIA on the bigger time frame, like I was saying, we have the same big reversal pattern that we did. All the tech stocks pretty much had this happen. Facebook had a similar pattern. We marked out our 50%. This is either going to be a bull flag, or a recovery pattern, or we're just getting a bearish flag for another drop down lower, okay, into maybe another zone on the weekly chart. So that's something to pay attention to. I'm not looking at doing any type of dip buying necessarily off of NVIDIA. I might add a little, or I might get into the trade a little bit if it pulls back, like I said, but for the most part, I would be waiting for a news catalyst to tell me to get into NVIDIA. Just wanted to let you know where the price target is. 541 and above, we're bullish. 541, which it's under, we are bearish. Now, Netflix is kind of cool. I do like Netflix. Netflix is found a bottom. We're definitely at some clear lows. We did get a big wick coming through here. We're consolidating sideways, eating time off the clock. We did not just get slapped down. Now we're hanging out in this area. We got pushed down the prior day, and we got bought right back up. Notice how all this other time when we got slapped down, it hung out down here. We had to find buyers. It got pushed up, slapped right down. We had to hang out. Now when we got slapped down, we got bought right back up, and now we're chilling in this area. If we're hanging out in this area and consolidating sideways, there's a good chance that we will see a nice move up to the next zone in the 502 on Netflix. Now, here's a couple stocks I generally don't pay too much attention to, but they did catch my eye. We have Workday, and the reason why I like Workday is when we're looking at that weekly time frame, we are building one heck of a pattern, and it's looking very bullish in my opinion. We also, if we look at the daily chart, we have this nice push up. We got bought up right off the 50%. If you guys don't pay attention to the 50%, you are losing money in the market. Okay, so if you measure this day out on the 50% retracement, it's a little, let's see, 50%. Software is killing me. Boom. Okay, so if we measure it out on the 50% retracement, look where we get the buyers coming in at. Off the 50%. It is so common to find buyers at the 50% retracement that you should be paying attention to the 50% retracement on every time frame, on every candle. If you pay attention even on the 1 minute chart, you will see that those patterns are based around the 50%. On the daily charts, based around the 50%. The weekly, based around the 50%. If you're coming straight into a weekly 50% retracement, that's pretty much a guaranteed dip buy. And what for a short time being, or following your stop up and letting the stock continue. But I do like workday. I like the weekly chart. I like that 3 hour time frame. We got bought right up off. Now, so let's check this out. So if we go back and we go, okay, where is our 50% on the weekly time frame? This is where I get this level. I just didn't make it pink, but I will, because that's the way we roll. Okay, so if we go, here is the big bullish bar. We have the reversal candle, and now all we have is inside bars. All we're doing is building energy to make a move higher in the market. We have an uptrend. We're just waiting. If we continue to get rejections off of 218, we could become bearish. If we're above, we are bullish. So if we're above the 50%, which is the pink line, we'll go ahead and make that pink. And if we're above the 50%, now we can become bullish in the trade. So if we look at the daily candle, the 50% we got bought right off of. Let's look at the 3 hour time frame. Look at the tail candle that came in. We found a lot of buying pressure off the 50%. That's the weekly 50%. Now all we've got to do is eat some time off the clock. If we can break over this other power candle right here, okay. Now depending on how you look at things, this would be part of like a sell area. Okay, so this is where sellers came into the market. We see this reversal candle here, big reversal pattern here. Stock fell down and it struggled to get past this price point. Pre-market blew up on earnings and it got slapped right back down. Okay, so let's not leave this one pink so we don't get confused. We will change that. But if we can consolidate sideways, and especially if we can start breaking over the highs of this prior candle, we could really start looking for a move in workday. Okay, and that would be on the weekly time frame, a weekly breakout, which means the weekly time frame and weekly breakouts are going to give us a bigger move than a daily breakout, and then a 3 hour breakout, and especially a 10-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute breakout. Okay, so if we're paying attention to the weekly chart, we get our direction off the weekly chart. We got bought off to 50%. I am bullish on workday. Now let's move on to Peloton. The reason why I like Peloton is, check it out. We got a huge move up. We got a great pullback. Now I haven't even done the homework on this, but from this last move going straight up, here's our 61.8. It struggled at the 51 or the 50% retracement. We got the indecision bar. We are making a move. We are still bullish on Peloton, especially now since we're getting some news. If we get into Peloton, I'm not sure what the news is on it. It just caught my eye. Let's see here. It's just all due to COVID-19. So there's states that are shutting down again, etc., etc. They're at home workout equipment. We would be looking at potentially more activity as far as people staying home and buying, and that's why the stock price is rising. But we are getting that bounce off the 50%. Now, if we look at that 3-hour time frame, we got that strong move higher. Okay, and if we get rid of this, we were right at the 50%. Now we can kind of get an idea of where we are at on workday. So any kind of move back prior to this, for example, where would we buy? We go, this was the entire move today. If we are to get a pullback into the 50% retracement, look where also the highs are right here. So if we go, okay, here is a sell zone. It correlates also with our 50% retracement. Now, we got buyers coming in, sellers coming in, sellers at the top once again. Wouldn't it make sense if this stock pulled back in the morning at 112, we could potentially be buyers at 112? Now, of course, measure your stop loss. The next zone would be into here probably, where we would find additional sellers. Okay, there might be a little bit of a hiccup right where it's currently at. right there. So if we could potentially get a dip buy down in the 112, or if we just consolidate sideways, we still have over a couple dollar move going into 119, 120 on Peloton. So I hope this kind of helps. There was somebody that pointed out on I just wanted to call it out, but APPS was called out on YouTube. Somebody was asking me to kind of break it down, and it's got the weekly breakout kind of happening. So that was kind of cool that he gave that a nice call out. Now, I also want to just show you guys once again, if you're not using the 50%, if we measure the 50% up to that candle's high, look where we got the buying pressure in at. From the 618 to that 50%, the pattern held above the 50% retracement. Once again, okay, that's where we find the buyers at. So you know the dip buyers down in the 50%. Generally, and don't forget to use your stop losses, but generally the 50% gets some kind of a price reaction off of it on the daily time frames, the 3-hour time frames, and the weekly time frames. And so pay attention to those. All we did is get this strong move up, a nice flag going sideways, and now we're breaking out. So I am definitely bullish on APPS as well. So if we start getting, for example, tomorrow, here is our bullish day, right? Today. And if we slap our 50%, we know that this area right here could potentially be one heck of a dip buy for us, okay? I'd be paying attention. So if the stock price is coming down, I might be looking at a 10-minute time frame and going, okay, where would I be a buyer at? And I could go, okay, in this zone here, we found this pattern going sideways above the 50%. It makes sense that anywhere in this area, if we get a sell-off, that this area right here, in between here, would be where we could potentially grab a buy at, okay? And then you want to measure your stop loss accordingly. If you're buying into this particular spot here, for example, if you take a buy in at 43.50, you would be risking the lows of the previous day. So that's $2.60. If you have 10 shares, you're risking $20 or $26, right? And your potential, you would want to try to get a 1-to-2 ratio. We could be looking at the weekly time frame. You would just follow the hourly candles up, depending on which power candle is breaking the high of the other power candle, placing your stop beneath each candle as it continues to break out to new highs. If you haven't seen the video again on the power candles, I recommend that video to you guys. If you haven't already, again, give me a thumbs up on the video. I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.